come to Dunnet Beach and this water is warm. It's crazy. The wacky tail of Crumble. Yeah. Crumble doesn't love the van life that much, but we feel like we're forgiven every time we take him somewhere here. Today our destination is Talmine Bay, but with the west coast coming into view, there are so many places to stop off along the way, so we're just going to take our time and see what takes our fancy. Another stop and some more pretty flowers. Quite a lot of this trip has been Crumble fixating over whoever is not with him in the moment and desperately wanting us all to be together. You're doing really well, buddy. So this is the lens that came with us to Yellowstone. Continues to be very useful. Okay, I fancy painting some shells. This beach is quite stony, but you can find some interesting things. Crumble and I have learnt that me painting on the beach with him is not a good idea. We've had lots of digging again, haven't we? So I'm going to take those shells back to the safety of the caravan and when we can paint them there. All right? It's so cool that Ant is capturing this trip through a lens whilst I'm painting it. He spots things that I walk right by. I never even saw those roses. We're trying again. Painting from a safe distance from the sand. What a gorgeous morning. So I've given everything a wash in the sea. And we found some really cool things. We found some sea glass, some scallop shells, some lovely little cone shells, some amazing stones, and some of these little limpets that I thought some of them looked like tartan, like a little tartan kilt. So that felt quite appropriate. So I'm trying to clean my palette in between painting sessions so I can open it up and have a lovely clean space to mix in. And I finally found my bulldog clips, which are great for holding down pages on windy days. go. I've laid out my shells and stones on my page, and you can see how harsh the shadows are. So we had strong shadows going the other way last night when I was picking them up, and strong shadows this way. So ideally you never really want to be painting in such harsh light, but that is the trade-off of painting somewhere so beautiful as this. And let's face it, no one's going to complain about this nice weather, particularly in Scotland. So right now my brushes look a little bit tufty, not very fine pointed, but the key is if after getting them in water they can make a nice fine tip, then you're absolutely fine. But these brushes don't last forever, so you might find, I find I replace them maybe every 6 months because I'm painting with them every day. But yeah, they're still brilliant, but you do need to look after them. Okay, well my aim is to try and paint these as simply and as sort of loosely as possible, because when you're out and about painting plein air, it is full of challenges, and it's all about how you come across and overcome those challenges. So what I quite like about this style is it just encourages you to think a bit more cleverly. So a bit like how I always say with a flower, you need to anchor your petals into the middle. It's the same with a shell. I don't know why, I've got a slightly shaky knee this morning, so everything is just starting to wobble on my lap. But yeah, I'm basically using wet on wet to do this. And there's my centre. So just bringing everything in. And it's a hot day, so things are going to dry quite fast. A shaky knee was very unexpected. Usually my biggest challenge when filming and painting outside is the balancing act of painting, then keeping everything balanced on my knee, keeping the page not flipping up out of the wind, and then filming and trying, not always, but trying to maintain the focus in the right place. I've added like a little bit of pink to my scallop shell mix, and I'm trying to paint all of these things freehand, and also being very nice to myself if things aren't quite as I want them. You have to be like that with watercolour outside. In sketchbooks, that's kind of why we use sketchbooks. It's because I like to think of a sketchbook as a storybook documenting it might be a specific time of your life or a journey, something like that, or it's the journey of your creativity and how you've come to improve or just enjoy a certain topic. It's not about perfection. And to be honest, I've never been about perfection anyway. Not interested in that. Interested in creative character. What I like about doing little series is you get a few chances to do the same thing over and over again. And I feel like I've learnt as I've gone along if I can just simplify and actually to use the bigger brush. It'll be more successful. So I'm painting this one, and here's the shell. Pop it right next to it actually, so we've got a gap. So I'm quite happy with the shape so far, but we've got all these tiny ridges, so I just really want to make sure that they don't, it's a bit like leaf lines, we don't want them feeling like they've been plonked on. So what I like to do is I like to start by doing a sort of wet on damp, I suppose, is probably the best description, because I want the lines to have a little bit of definition. But it's changing colour all the time, and the other thing to remember is watercolour dries lighter. So if you've painted something on and you're like, uh-oh, that's too strong, chances are it'll dry a lot lighter than you would expect it to. But what I do like to do is just soften over with a wet brush, but I actually really like that. So another thing I'm learning from these little shell series is techniques and styles I thought might be good at the beginning, or shells I thought I'd be really good at were actually the more challenging ones, and the ones that I was a bit fearful of are turning out to be a little more successful. So if you ever feel like you've pigeonholed yourself in terms of what you like to paint and things, coming outside is a really great way of gently introducing yourself to new things, and also having low expectations, because you're outside and it's kind of difficult to balance everything. So I was in two minds about putting shadow on, but I've put it on those three and I just think it lifts them right off the page. So I'm going to put a little bit on my scallop shell next. So it's going to come a little bit up on the shell. So we've got another painting to add to the sketchbook. I'm really glad I put those shadows in. I think it really makes them pop off the page a bit. And now we're going to get back in the car, or camper van, and get on the road for quite a long drive today. We're going to wiggle our way down the west coast to Ullapool. There is so much to see down the west coast, and plenty to keep you occupied with zip lines, lookout points, ancient castles. But if you're enjoying these vlogs, then let us know. Like, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss another video.